Today, I'm going to show you how to make a fully customized leather axe sheath, and hopefully give you some helpful tips that can help you on this leathercraft journey. My name is Israel, and welcome to the first episode of A Million Projects. Alright, so the story goes, I bought this old beat up axe on Facebook Marketplace. I took it home and restored it, but every axe needs a home, and that's what we're making today. First things first, you have to pick the right leather. For axe or knife sheaths, I usually like to keep it around 6 to 8 ounces. As for the type, for this project I'm using veg tan, which is what I usually use, because my favorite part of this whole hobby is tooling. This is the same thickness and tannage that I use for my armor. Once you have the leather picked out, you can move on to the part that used to frustrate me so much, and that's making the template. Whether it's a dagger, sword, axe, whatever, just grab it and set it down on some paper. I trace the whole thing immediately. After that, I flip it over and then trace the whole thing again. That way I have a symmetrical shape. Then I sort of dot out 1 inch around the borders of the blade. This gives me enough room for stitching. And then I kind of create the sheath how I want. You kind of freestyle it at that point. It's kind of the fun part. After that, I typically make a copy of my template on the printer upstairs. That way, in case I screw up, I still have something to kind of fall back on. So then I place the template on the leather and cut it out. Now comes my favorite part, which is the tooling. I wanted to do something that kind of had contrasting colors with like the border on the outside and then the inside part. So I was thinking like a light brown kind of interior and black exterior would look really cool. So I made a border with my border tool, and then I used my, why can't I think of the word? Swivel knife. Then I used the swivel knife to outline my border. Then I used a beveler down the cuts that I made with the swivel knife. And then I used this little border tool thing to give myself a really cool looking border. Now, for the inside, I thought it would be really cool to kind of have like that tri-weave stamp. I bought that specific stamp over at Tandy like 2 months ago. It's only like $7. It was so worth it. Because just look at this. I love the look of this tri-weave basket stamp. I thought it was looking pretty cool at this point, but then came my least favorite part of this whole hobby, and that is waiting. So while I was waiting for it to dry, I decided I was gonna make a striker guard with it. I essentially wrapped some printer paper around the axe handle, and then I made a template from that. And then I placed that template onto the leather, kind of the same way we did with the axe sheath, and traced that and cut it out. I also used the same border tool for the border around my striker guard as I did the axe sheath, for continuity, I guess. So by that time, both the striker guard and the axe sheath were dry, so it was time for the dyeing part. And that's when I came across my first L of this project, which was, I didn't have any more wool daubers. Yeah, so I had to get creative because it's Sunday and my craft stores aren't open on Sundays. I was gonna try to use my foam brush, but it was still damp. So I had a little bit of success with Q-tips, but I ended up trying a shop towel, and that surprisingly worked out okay. So after I dyed the interior brown, then I went back and dyed the borders black with the Q-tip. And the result was looking really good at this point. And once that dried, I was really excited. So I grabbed some black antique gel and just threw it on there and rubbed it all in. And that was my second L of this project, because it darkened the brown dye. It made it very, very dark brown, almost black. Then it was time for sewing. I used my diamond chisels to make the holes for where I was gonna stitch. I used a Dremel to make the holes, to drill them. It was significantly easier than trying to use the diamond chisel. And I recommend it to anybody who's trying to get through like 2 or 3 layers of thick leather, like this project where it's 6 to 8 ounces. So I saddle stitched it with brown thread, and then it was time for burnishing. So for burnishing, what I did was I sanded it with my belt sander at 60 grit, or I got it wet and then used the wood slicker. Then I went up to, I think it was 120 grit, sanded that, got it wet, slicked it, then to 220, sanded it, got it wet, and then slicked it and did that all the way up to like 1500. You don't have to go that high by any means. I just sometimes kind of get lost in thought while I'm sanding. So once I was done with that, I really just applied some leather sheen, laced up the strike guard on my axe. I also wrapped some black suede around at the bottom for where your hand would go, kind of like an extra grip. I thought that kind of added a little flair to it. And then boom, we have this bad boy. I still need to make a little button to go around here to keep it from falling off, but I'll do that here probably tomorrow. I just wanted to give you guys a cool little glimpse into how I do this. I've done this once in the past for somebody, but I used red dye. It was red and black, and it was like a bear theme. Yeah, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My junkyard rusty garbage axe that I found from Facebook Marketplace. I brought it home and transformed it into something that I would be proud to bring with on camping trips. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of A Million Projects.